Gotta make sure you're drinking your waters. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Manifesting with Ari Mack on my YouTube channel. And welcome TikTok to Candles by Ari. How you doing today? Um, First and foremost, I have to stop to say happy birthday to the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I adore you. I am so thankful that you are in my life. You have made me more confident, more secure, and words cannot describe what an incredible human being you are. Today is my mom's birthday. And to Miss Alexandra, who is fierce, who is unapologetic, who holds her head up high and is always make me feel like I could do anything. I salute the divine in you, Mom. I am so thankful that you are in my life, and I can't wait to see you and us do more celebrating. But I have to say happy birthday to my most favorite Sagittarius in the world, my mom, Alexandra McIntyre. Thank you guys so much. Love you, Mom. Okay, so today's episode is about where astrology meets your intuition. And it's very interesting because I get questions about this a lot. Being a spiritual life coach, after a while, when you flex the muscle of spiritual awareness, and this doesn't have to do with religion, this is about what you intuitively pick up, what you intuitively feel is going on. You can get to a point in your existence where you could almost see the waves, see the new possibilities, see the tendencies. I also have a beautiful understanding of the world of astrology. And one of the first things that I noticed that I realized was how astrology coordinated a lot with the emotions and the feelings that were going on around us. Now, we can get very scientific. For example, all of the satellites that are currently circling around the globe, that are using the Earth's gravitational pull to ping pong and send signals that are all invisible. But this electronic energy is shooting between one satellite to another satellite and then transcending down to receive here on Earth and then spread among all these beautiful, wonderful tools we're using as we speak. These are innovations. These are divine tools in a sense, because it actually gives you an opportunity to do something that you may not know you can do. You can research anything now with the way our society is. So even if you don't have a formal educational or a formal person teaching you, you can self teach yourself just about anything. And that is the beautiful part about how the universe works. Now, right now, we got Sun in Sag. Mercury, the planet of communication, just tiptoed into Sagittarius. Just started like today. All right. Then we got Venus in Sag, Jupiter in Cancer, still doing its retrograde, Saturn in Pisces. Okay. Uranus in Taurus, also retrograding. Neptune in Pisces, that's Pisces' natural planet, and Pluto in Aquarius. Now, the reason why I give you guys this sign, because you can look it up yourself. You don't have to take my word for you. You can look up all the different aspects. But when you put them together, it sends signals directly to our soul, directly to our being. But we got to trust it. We got to believe in it. We got to stop questioning the why, especially if you haven't had nurturing energy around you to help you believe in what you're feeling. It's an amazing thing. It is an amazing thing. And the more that you allow this intuitive information to gather within you and gaining strength, you actually make better choices because you have confidence. Hi, Prophet. Hi, Andy. Hi, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate you here on the TikTok page. Hit me with some hearts. Hit me some hearts. Hearts are free. Love is free. And so, as your intuition starts gaining more strength, let me just say negative energy has a harder time to govern you. Negative energy can't just give you one innuendo and then you run with it. For example, I have people in my family, I'm going to talk about my personal experience, who once upon a time had a certain belief system that that's all they believed, that was it, there was no other way, that was it. This is the way we've always done it. During the pandemic, they were forced to learn a different way, forced, because they needed people, they needed things. And so now I had an auntie, my great auntie, I love her, would never touch the internet. We bought her so many phones with just one button and on and so forth. She was terrified of them. She felt like they would take her and suck the soul out of her body. So she refused to deal with them. But during the pandemic, she had no choice because of the isolation factor, her being older, and just because she had to have supplies. Okay. She had to have things delivered. She had to coordinate with the grocery store so they can get what she needed. And I got to tell you something, now she loves it. She absolutely, completely freaking loves it. Like, the woman likes having stuff delivered to her house. She's almost a junkie. I mean, literally. She's like, send me candles so I can see what it looks like when they get here. Okay. Send me some dinner. I want to see if they take it from over there. I mean, literally, she's now an addict. Hey, Annie, thanks for the love. I appreciate it. Okay. That's what I'm saying about how your intuition has to accept this information. Now, Pluto is the hidden planet. It may be considered a dwarf planet, but let me tell you something about that planet. It has so much freaking power, okay? Because it's about the unknown, the secretive, the behind the scenes, the spirituality, the reproduction, the death. It's all of those things that we don't like to talk about, but they're there. And it's sitting in the sun sign, in the zodiac sign of Aquarius, which is about humanity's unexpected changes, growing within electrical appliances, intellectual, progressive thinking. It's a lot. So when you put those two planets together, by the way, they're both fixed. They're both fixed planets. Pluto is ruled normally by Scorpio. Right now we had a Aquarius flavor to it. So that means, and this is a generational thing, this planet normally takes 30 years in each sign. But interesting enough, in this last 15 years, that planet has sped up its rotation. Where it used to take about 30 years, now it's 13, 14 years to go through each sign. That's different. That's unheard of. It's never happened. So that's how I know we as people, as human beings, as mammals, are growing. But we got to trust our intuition. Now I'm going to take it back a little further, so just bear with me. Back when civilization was just man running around in animal form, doing what animals do, we had to stay together as a pack, right? Because that's how we survived. If you moved away from the pack, you could die. That's the truth. Okay? Thanks, Phyllis, for following. Appreciate it. As we progressed, some people wanted to keep other people in the pack. Now, in order for growth to happen, guys, you have to have explorers. You have to have science. You have to have experiments, meaning you have to try. You have to participate. Okay? Now, those people who did that, who went out, who left the pack, were considered pioneers, adventurers, maybe even considered stupid because they had no evidence of anything, none whatsoever. So as man developed, our intuition started coming in. Okay, let's go to Egypt. Let's jump into the Egyptian time. In the Egyptian time, guys, they had just everything we have today, but more advanced. I mean, they had birth control, okay? They had cities, they had commerce, they have everything we have now. And I think they were more advanced in certain aspects because they had to deal with everything on a day-to-day basis straight out in front of them. Meaning if they needed to eat, they had to go out and get the food, harvest the food, and then have somebody prepare the food. I mean, it was a bigger deal, but it was accepted because that's just the way things were. Nobody else did it, so they had to do it in order to survive. Now, as we progressed, get more into the modern time, now we have a little bit more conveniences, right? Now we can actually go into the stores and pick out the things we want. Hell, we have variety. You know, have you ever looked at all the choices that you have? I mean, just getting dishwashing liquid. You can go from the bottom all the way to the top, or you can make your own. But this is the progression of the human mind, the human society, and everything in between. But guess what? the intuition still rules. Mhm. Still rules. Because that necessity is the mother of invention. Yeah. Yeah. When we are forced to deal with something, okay? I read this study this week about how our minds, if it's been traumatized, stay in that trauma. Like you are naturally, especially if you grew up in it as a little person, you're naturally inclined to stay in a crisis or flight thing, like crisis or I gotta run, fight or flight, I think it's called. And the thing about that programming is somewhere inside of you, you still think that's normal. Okay. You still feel like you have to go fight or flight for whatever you want. And even as an adult, and I have clients who've experienced this as adults. When they run across energy that reminds them of their childhood or they flash back, they turn into mush. You hear what I'm saying? They immediately go back into that child mentality, not on the surface, but through their actions. Their actions are not rational. They're not thinking progressively. They're literally sitting in their own fear of what they experienced as children. And this has been a proven trauma. And it's deep, you guys, because you can't see these kind of scars. They show up in behavior, they show up in your relationships, they show in the way that you deal with conflict, because some of us can't confront people that we love. And during this holiday time, I know it gets a little tense. I know it gets a little tense because you have people who you normally would not deal with, people that you would just kind of keep your distance. And all of a sudden, there's a company party or they're inviting you to an event. And since everybody else is going, you got to go. You know what I mean? Or you feel obligated to go. You don't ever have to do anything, but you may feel that obligation because you're grown. And just because you don't like Susie doesn't mean Susie, okay, is not going to invite you to things. And Susie expects you to show up. How about them apples? And this is when it gets into personal boundaries. Your intuition is never going to lead you wrong. It has no reason to ever lead you wrong. Now, if you've never really trusted your intuition, you've never really given your intuition a proper opportunity, like you just dismiss it. We're going to talk about a technique here in a little bit that I teach to help you strengthen that technique, because that's like having a condition, right? You have like diabetes have a condition. They either can't have too much sugar or they need more sugar. Okay. Trauma is the same way. It's the same way. It's just invisible. And unless you have a close friend, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or someone who cares for you, a clergy, someone that's in your life that truly has seen you grow and know what you're going through, you're lost. Now, like I said, thank God we have the internet. You have a lot of ways to reach out. This is one of the greatest things for man. So thank you, sweet spirit. But it's still hard, nevertheless, to tune into that intuition when you're dealing with it. Okay. Now, I was fortunate because I had a mother, a grandmother, and a family that knew I was different. And they let me speak my mind. Matter of fact, they encouraged it because they wanted to hear my thoughts. That's empowering for a little person. That's empowering for anyone, especially when you don't have the confidence or have not had the opportunity to voice your opinion. Now, with Mercury moving into Sag, the sun being in Sag, and Venus being in Sag, it's about truth seeking right now. Okay, that's what the more immediate thing is. Speaking your truth, if no one else but to yourself. To really own when something doesn't work for you, when something's bothering you, when something's getting under your skin. Because when you repress your intuition, you stop trusting your intuition. You stop trusting yourself. So everything is a question. Oh, should I not? Is that going to work? No, I'm not sure. And you're constantly battling yourself. And you look up and it's like 10 years later, 12 years later, and there's nobody at fault there. It was just choices that had to be made that you felt like, I'll do this when I do this. I'll get to it when I get to it. Okay. To fight that and also to help you live longer is to deal with the challenges first. I know that sounds weird. But dealing with the thing you least like to do will gain you strength because you're dealing with something on your terms to the best of your abilities. I'm not asking you to go slit your wrist and go start a fire. I'm just saying be honest with self about how you feel with things. Here's an example. One of my people has a very ill mother. And it turns out she was ill pretty much all of my client's life. So she always was doing something to my client and undermining them and just things that didn't make sense. But when it came to public, her mother acted perfect. She showed up, she was smiling, teeth and hair in perfect condition. Behind closed doors, not so nice. And I ain't gonna tell you the details, but they really did suck. Okay? So here we sit right now. All right. And the energy is her mother's older and she needs her. She truly, truly needs her because she's having her own medical difficulties and there's a lot of challenges. In our last session, they told me that the mother had a complete mental breakdown on them while they were at the not convalescent, it's like a senior living for people with certain medical conditions. And as this mother was having this breakdown and was crying and she was reaching for her child and all this stuff, my client said she felt nothing. You hear me? Nothing. She wasn't mad. She wasn't sad. She just didn't feel anything. And she questioned whether or not that was good or not. Because here's the mother who was abusive to her from a very young age, now needing her assistance literally to survive. She cannot make decisions on her own anymore. She needs guidance. And here my client is stepping up to the plate to help her in her hour of need, which everybody expects you to do. It's your mother. You should take care of your mother. But this lady in her heart said, nothing. Why? Because she couldn't leave and she didn't know how to emotionally be available for her mom. Because deep down inside, that little girl does not trust her mother. She doesn't see her as a safe place. And consequently, she felt nothing. Nothing. She said she had more compassion for people on the streets than she had for her own mother. And she felt awful about it. And I tried to explain to her that's a part of the fallout from your intuition, knowing that you're not in a safe place. Her intuition knows that her mother has been an ugly person to her. It's not even something anybody made up. She personally has experienced her mother's rage on a child. And now that that child is grown, yes, she's showing up for her. Yes, she's doing all the dutiful stuff. She's doing all this stuff by any religious standard. That's what you should do for your mom because your mom gave birth to you and blah, 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 blah. But the reality, when you get into the nitty and the gritty, her mom wasn't the stellar mom. She wasn't. So my client is being forced to keep an image up for someone who, in my observation, didn't really deserve it, but she's doing it. And that fight or flight in her right now is forcing her to confront her. And it is kicking her ass. Because even though she understands, like we all do, intellectually can understand, right? We all get it. You can see it, you understand it, you hear it, boom. But that little person, that intuitive side of her, still does not believe, even though this lady's older, she can literally probably push her around easy, that she cannot do anything because her mother won't approve and she may start screaming and yelling at her, which was her pattern to get control, was to yell and yell and yell until my client gave in and did whatever she wanted. How many of us have had that kind of programming? Hi, Edwin. How you doing? How many of us have lived through hysterical situations that really no little person should be exposed to? And yet here we are, expecting them to grow up and be adjusted and make like everything's normal and that you should just get past that. And that's just not the way it works, guys. All right? Don't forget to show me some loves. Hit the heart button, Edwin. Show me some loves. Give me some gifts. I take all. You too, YouTube. Show me some love. Now, if you have experienced something like this, please leave it in the comments. Let me know. Because I've seen what it does to a grown person, both male and female. It just slowly creeps up in your intimate relationships. It shows up in how you deal with people. It shows up in how you assess a situation. And believe it or not, when you look at a chart, I can actually see certain aspects of how and why your techniques develop and use those techniques to help you gain strength from what you thought was a weakness. How about them apples? Because the power of the mind is beyond compare. And when you have faith in yourself, in your abilities, nothing can really stand in your way because mentally you're not in prison. A great example of someone being imprisoned, I'm going through that, I think. Oh, Andy, it's deep. Definitely like and follow Andy. Okay. I'll invite you to one of my classes because a great example of someone who had to keep their mental faculties for 26 years being isolated and in prison was Nelson Mandela. He literally gave up because he was a protester, didn't like his belief. People literally left him in there to rot. Not on purpose. I just think the situation, the circumstances, no, it wasn't on purpose. There were people that wanted that to happen. It took nothing but faith in what he believed in, and faith of the people around him sending him love, light, and not giving up on the belief that he deserved to be free. 26 years is a long time, guys, to be impacted in a way that you're by yourself and all you do have is your faith. You're not going to be the same person when you come out. But guess what? You can come back and be stronger. You can come back to be more wise, and you can come back and take that intuitive information that's like a reservoir in your mind and help yourself and help others by being the example of what you can do despite what you did not get. And see, that necessity, that's the mother of invention. Okay? Because you're going to push yourself beyond that comfort zone, which we all have to lead. You have to lead that. You have to decide, I am going to not do this today. And you make a conscious decision not to do it. In my client's case, whose mother's very ill, she's going to be putting time limits on how long she can be there. Because she still has to go in to check in and make sure everything's going well. But she doesn't have to stay 2 or 3 hours. She can stay an hour and get all her stuff done. And what she doesn't get done, she can schedule for the next round. Because she says at that hour 15 mark, it gets uncomfortable because that's when her spirit is starting to get wore down and her little girl emotions start coming up because that's what's always been there. It's never been resolved. Her mother's never taken any ownership. Matter of fact, she tells her that those things happen because of her, that she evoked her to do those things. And that's what bullies do, guys. They always find a way to make something that is your fault and that you caused that. And if you would have done this, this would have happened. They don't own it. Use your ears. Listen very carefully. It's never an I did this to you. I'm sorry for what happened to you. It's always you did this. You caused this. And that's the narcissist bully way. It's their way. Now, I'm not going to say that you're going to instantly get all your answers because you're not. And I'm not going to say when you step out of your comfort zone and you start pushing yourself, it ain't going to be comfortable. Because it's not going to be comfortable. You will be having anxieties. You will be tripping the dickens out. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be tripping. But you're tripping now. So do you want to trip now and deal with it? Or do you want to trip later and be older? Because that's what I find gets people is they get older and they haven't dealt with their stuff. Now they don't trust their intuition. Now they're not too sure if anything's ever going to work the way they plan. And so consequently, they end up making things worse for themselves because now they're beating themselves up because they're older and they're beating themselves up because they didn't have the courage. You see the theme here? It just becomes like a snowball of negative emotions with no end in sight. Well, now with all this Sagittarius happened, we got an opportunity to do some cleaning of house, starting with truths. Just being truthful with you. If something is bothering you, if something is getting under your skin, I need you to sit and listen to yourself to say, what is this? Where is this coming from? What is it about? Why do I feel the way that I feel? Am I having anxiety because somebody else is giving it to me? Because there are people in this world that are just nervous, nutty little folks. Everything's the sky's gonna fall and everything's on the brink, even if nothing's happening to them. They're already projecting that because they don't like change. I'm gonna say it again. They don't like change. So change is very uncomfortable. And it is uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie to you. It takes a lot of courage to stop a bad habit. It takes even more courage to own your mistakes. Because there is a karma and divine justice that exists. I've seen it. Sometimes people are like, well, he never gets what they deserve, and this person always gets away with everything. And I beg to differ. I always say, you don't know what that karma looks like for that person and that situation. You don't know how spirit is working in and through them. You don't know. You can assume, you can have your opportunities, you can even think you understand, but that doesn't mean shit if you don't trust the process. And that's where we are now. With the outer planets being in water and a lot of this intellectual stuff coming down, it's real important that you verify your sources. You spend a little bit time checking in for your own truth, maybe even making some adjustments on things that you thought were one way and now they're going a different way. That's possible. It's possible. But you have to be willing to upgrade. How about them apples? Upgrade. Now, with Pluto being in Aquarius, since it's going to be there for at least till 2044 or 45, something like that, it's good 18 years. All of us on a generational level, even children that are being born right now, will see the world much differently than we saw it at the beginning. Why? Because transparency is going to be more and more available. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to take it. I'm going to be honest with you. Being transparent means you're going to have to look at some things for the way that they are, not the way we want them to be. That's a tough one. We got to accept limitations that we may have to have because of circumstances. And making choices sometimes when you don't have your favorite is a bitch. Not gonna lie to you, it's very challenging. And so to get around that, look at where your Mercury is in your chart. Okay, you can get your chart done pretty much. There's a lot of free things online. You can pretty much punch in your day of birth and ask for a free natal chart, and it will tell you. And then look up your Mercury, because your Mercury is how you think. It's how you think. It's how you process information. And then really take some time. Look at the other aspects as well, your Venus, your Mars, your Mercury, but see how that enchilada comes together. How does that all make you the person that you are, the decisions that you make? How does that work? Now, I know on a global level, we're more connected than ever before, which is beautiful and wonderful, but can also be very scary and overwhelming. So do take some time with and whatever information you're getting and just look it up yourself and confirm it. I always say do it in threes because that's the magic number for me. You may have five or six. Maybe that's your magic number. Don't know. But spend some time researching, reevaluating, just recalibrating maybe a belief system that you had and how it's grown. Because it does grow. Believe it or not, guys, change has happened. It's very subtle, it's very gentle, but it is happening. And if you go along with the flow, with what the universe offers, the easier your flow is going to be. It won't be so chaotic. You won't be going against the universe constantly. You'll actually feel like things are working out because you're giving yourself permission to just be in the moment and to own it. Okay? So, Omar, Humble Peace, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate Humble Peace. Been watching your stuff. You're doing good. So, as the astrology meets the intuition, you guys are going to have to listen to that intuition. And how do you do that? Well, that's like a muscle. It's been there all along, but maybe you haven't exercised that muscle a long time. Yeah. So the muscle is a little stiff and maybe a little flabby, right? And you don't really get into it much. First thing I tell you to do is meditate. Find an affirmation that's going to be consistent, that you can use on a daily basis, like how you brush your teeth, wash your hair, put your clothes together for the day. Intuition has to be that clear. You need to be that embedded in it where it's just natural. To the point, if something says go left, and usually it's a very, very gentle, small voice. It's not like in the movies. It's not like the exorcism or anything like that. It's usually very subtle, like, hey, go left. You know what I mean? Hey, go left. You know what I mean? Just, go ahead and put that out there. Like, what do you have to lose? And the universe has this way of responding to you. Now, you have to listen to the small things. All right. Because when we're going through a lot of processes, we tend to look only up and only at the big and what's in front of us. And that's not how the universe works. You have to look for the things that are coming together, the things that are starting to flow. I start with the basics. Do I feel good in my body? What is my body asking me to do? Is there any aches, any pains? Are you feeling something's not right? These are all red flags so that your body and your spirit can stay strong and healthy. Thank you, Humble. Appreciate it. And when you get into the exercise of just body, just you, baby, you don't have to fight anybody else. You don't have to go to anybody else. Just tune into what am I feeling? Why am I feeling that way? You can begin the exercise of trusting your intuition. Yeah. Because you can feel the clean slate of when something's working and when something's not working. When I'm humbling myself and when I'm allowing myself to go into a victim type of situation. Because we know when something's not right. I truly believe that. We'll choose to ignore it because we have free will. Spirit gave us free will, guys. And free will says you could be sitting in a gunny sack with your clothes tore up and still Spirit will bless you with food, shelter, and a place to live that's comfortable. But we have to own it. We have to make that decision to deal with the challenges. And that's what I do for my clients and my people. We deal with that hard stuff. We deal with I love my parent, but they weren't very good to me. And we deal with, I want to be with this person, but I don't trust they're not going to break my heart. Okay? We deal with, I want to be the better person, but I keep coming up with the short end of the stick. If you have something happen to you in threes, now that's my personal magic number. You pick your own number, whatever works for you. But when you see something happening 3 times, please take the red flag. Please make a mental adjustment. Please decide, I don't think I'm going to go that way. Because that's what Spirit is subtly, very gingerly saying to you, hey, don't do that. Okay? I don't think that's going to be in your best interest. I think you're going to end up being a little disappointed if you go in that direction. What do you do if you feel like your intuition is telling you to do something, but you feels, I finished the question, but you feels nervous, scared, and hurt? Okay, Andy, that's a very good question. And the first thing you have to do is tune into that nervous and scared and fear. You don't have to do anything physically yet, but you have to give yourself permission to feel that. Don't repress it. Be in a safe place, of course, home, someplace where you're not disturbed, and then be honest with yourself. What am I really scared of? What is the undertow that's really with me? And you're going to find it. And if you have somebody that you can trust, a spiritual person, a clergy person, someone that you know is listening, that knows you, please share that with them because they can maybe see things on the outside. And also hit me up, like I said, follow me, because that's a real emotion. That fear, that nervousness, that scare. Look, God gave it to us so that we know when something's not right. Okay, when we start feeling like something is it's dangerous for me, emotionally, psychologically, physically, it's a warning, it's a red flag. Now, for me, my stomach starts bothering me. I get like knots, not good knots, because there's different types of anxiety. There's the good anxiety when you're about to do something that's life-changing and or make a decision that is like buying a house or getting married. Those things are going to scare the shit out of you. Okay, even though you're consciously saying yay, it's still nerve-wracking, as opposed to when you're going into a situation that people are scaring the dickens out of you, consider when things are off. Yeah. And when things are off, that's also telling you something. It's talking to you. And you need to listen to that. And if you do nothing else, make that mental note for yourself so that you can go back and revisit later on to understand where I am coming from. What am I trying to do? Because Andy, that's where the strength lies, is knowing that you're off balance and not making poor choices because of it. Give yourself permission to breathe. Give yourself permission to stay here and go, wow, this really sucks. Big time. And let that energy sit with you. It's going to leave you with you becoming more conscious of it. You understand? Because you start realizing what it really means and putting it into play and understanding the mathematics of the positives of it and the negative of it and how it's going to balance you in the middle. Now, I've learned that astrology gives a lot of insight to a lot of people. And I do the interpretation so you guys don't have to lose your mind on that part. I think it's fascinating. And it does give you a heads up, like a forecast of what energy is coming towards you. And I have programs that are available, like, follow, and subscribe. And I have a lot of free information to show you what an affirmation is, to give you insight on making some better choices with certain positions in your Mercury. I haven't finished all of them, but I do have Mercury in Taurus and Mercury in Cancer up on my site, and those are free. And they work. But I've been through this so many, many times. And even now, me sitting here, I thank the Lord. I thank Spirit, because to see someone know that they're not crazy, to hear someone say, damn, I thought it was just me, is like a huge breakthrough for me, because I don't want anyone to think that they're nuts. But I do think that there are energies that put a repressing image up. They just project, you're the messed up one, you are not good enough, you don't have enough money, la 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 la, and they just keep hurling that doo-doo out to the point where you start thinking that's normal. You think that's normal, and that's what I'm saying about choice. We choose to accept it and to rise up from it because, well, we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. Okay, we want that energy to, hold on, the hell, hold on a second. Sitting on my charger. That's not good. Hold on. Okay. Whew. Almost lost my signal over here. Anyway, so when we choose to embrace that negative aspect, let's just say your body, your mind, your spirit starts getting a more confidence that you're not the only one and that you're not crazy. You can make a better choice. And even it becomes a condition, because I got people that have conditions because they've been through so much trauma. I mean, they have a condition. They can't handle certain things. They look fine. If you met them, you would think they were probably successful, happy-go-lucky people. But because they tell me the truth, and I see it when I run their charts and we start interacting, especially with my coaching style, you can't hide from me. You're not supposed to hide from me. I am your safe person. I am that safe space, because I've chosen to stand in the light, and I know how powerful it is when you have to believe when maybe nobody else sees it yet, or they don't want to see it. Let's put it like that. Because even with evidence, sometimes if somebody or situation is not ready to be heard, ready to be seen, you may have to watch a lot of unnecessary. That's the nicest way I can put it. Just a lot of unnecessary pain, a lot of unnecessary frustration, and a lot of unnecessary anger. But everybody has the process that they have to go through. You're finding your process, which astrology, aromatherapy, and affirmations helps you do. Hey, Harmony, how you doing, sweetheart? You find that power within you, right? Because you're no longer looking for outside support. You're listening to your intuition. So you're going to go toward people who you may not think really would help you. You may not even think they like you. And then boom, they come through. Surprising. Surprising. And I can tell tons and tons and tons of stories on just how divine intuition and divine guidance works. because sometimes you have to be that guidance and sometimes you have to be guided. And it's okay. It is okay either way. Believe it or not, there is no wrong way to pray. There's no wrong way to love yourself. Negative, okay, no negative. No hurting and being bad like that. I'm saying reasonable. Be reasonable, okay? But once you start listening, and I hope that these reports help you guys because I'm really trying to put out the overall energies without calling any particular sign out. That's we do in our programs because that's where you guys are asking, and I can get more detailed about why and what I'm thinking. The next thing I'm gonna recommend if you want to strengthen that intuition is find a meditation. Find a way to tune in to self. Oh, thank you, humble. Appreciate. But you got to do it, guys. You have to find that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes a day to just sit and just be there, right? And just own it, even if it's not like fun stuff. I have a client, I love her to pieces. She's always nervous. No matter what happens, the first thing she's going to do is go, it's just all going to be messed up and nothing's going to work. We've been through this for over 15 years. Recently, she just started laughing at herself, saying, okay, I'm in my process. I'm at the nothing's going to work phase. So I'm waiting for the other side to come through. Now, I can't tell you how many conversations we've had where I've had to remind her that every single prayer she's ever put out has been answered. Not one, not two, not three, not four. Every single prayer. When she prays sincerely, and she speaks from her heart, and her sincerity is so beautiful. She's a light. She is a beautiful light. But sometimes she questions if she's good enough. She questions if she's handling herself right. She questions if she's putting her best foot forward. Good people do that. See, negative people say in a minute, I'm the best. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I don't understand. I'm not sure. A good example of the I'm not sure. I have a friend whose sister is in a not so good situation, and there's 4 children involved. Her husband is dangerous. He drinks, he works with firearms, and he's just not a good man. I personally think he's on some form of narcotic that is slowly killing him because his pictures are deteriorating. Every time I see a picture of him, he looks a little darker. He's already lost all his teeth. His hair is falling out. He claims he's just sick, but she stays. Recently, he got into a physical altercation with her. And my client had to hear her. The police came. They filed a restraining order because there's children, minor children involved in this scenario. Now, you would think, because it's not the first time, it's like the 4th and 5th time that this has happened, that her sister would take the support and go ahead and move through it. Well, because of a technicality, they let him out. Now, the police suggested to her very strongly, do not let him in because he's a danger. They know what he's doing is wrong. And they found guns, loaded guns all over the house. She swears that her sister is going to leave him. This is it. We're going to make changes, blah, blah, blah. The sister did not leave him. As a matter of fact, she let him come in and started hanging out with the children. The children are in trauma. When I tell you trauma is real, it is real. They do not trust him. They told her there were other guns because he shows them the guns when she's not around. And all of these things are screaming at her sister to leave him. Why are you staying with him? It's dangerous. My friend is very upset with her. She wants to, scream and yell and just be, to the point she's making herself sick. I listened to her. I let her go through a process. And I try to be as kind as possible when I say to her, your sister has free will. And even though you do not like what she's doing, and I know you're very upset with her for the way she's doing it, it is still her choice to make. Now, we can pray for her. We can send her a lot of light. But that's where she is right now. And that is, it's tough. Thank you. I appreciate that compliment because I do try. Because my friend wants to wring her sister's neck. She wants to shake her till her brain falls into the proper mindset to do better. And she's not allowed, even if there's little people involved, because her sister's grown. She has free will. Yes, the police have been notified. Yes, social services have been notified. And everybody's doing what they can, but they cannot make her do a gosh darn thing. If she wants to stay, she wants to stay. Now, in general, guys, none of these things ever end up perfect or good. Because as these kids grow up, they're going to remember all these things. I know because I end up coaching people whose families were dysfunctional as all hell. And they got mixed up signals about money, love, being intimate. Okay. I mean, all these things are not given to them in a loving environment. They're being given to them by people who are not okay themselves. But we have to live through it. So I suggested to my friend just to leave her be, to pray for her, be there where you can, and back up because you can't make somebody do anything. That's free will. You can help her meditate. You can encourage her to connect with other people who are maybe in the situations that she's in. Other people, because I think she's a battered woman because she's been with them for so long. It's become normal. It's her day to day. She doesn't see anything wrong with it. I've actually talked to her. She just has a different perspective on who he is and what he's doing. Her kids would probably be the biggest teacher because karma, divine design, it only comes in a way that you can receive it. And her children aren't always going to be underage. They're not. And they will have some questions for her about their experiences. And I don't know if she's going to have any answers. She seems to me she's living in a world of denial. And, I just leave it be. I'm not angry with her. I'm not upset with her. I just bless her and send her a lot of light because I can't do anything. And it's very hard, you guys. It is very tough to see someone make those kind of poor choices. But we don't know what that soul's journey is on. I do try. I do try. But like I said, we don't know the soul's journey. We don't know why that person's choosing that. Of course, we can get deeper into their psyche and all that stuff, but on surface, we just have to respect and send love and hope to God that they take that love and that wonderful positive energy and do something good with it. But if your intuition is screaming something at you, please listen to it. Oh, thank you, Andy. Thank you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Don't forget to follow. I think you did, but I'm working. I'll check at the end of the show. I'll follow you back as well. So the bottom line to all this great stuff, guys, is to listen to the intuition. I'm telling you the astrology aspect. Truth is big right now. Your truth within yourself, and also truth is peace, just so you know. Okay, Andy, thank you. I'll definitely check you out when I'm done. When you're truthful with you, there's a peace, there's a calmness that comes because you're doing the right thing. You're honoring yourself. You're not letting somebody else take advantage of you and make you feel less than. And that's what this is about. Now, an astrology tip, we have a lot of energy coming toward us. Now, I do meditations through Zoom twice a month. We have classes. I have affirmation aromatherapy candles. There's one ahead of me, right up top of me. The affirmation is on the candle along with the smell. Please check it out. We have candles of the month. There's candle packages, all kinds of good stuff. And it's there with so much love because I've spent so much time developing this because I wanted to make sure the end user, whoever it is, feels cared for, feels like somebody is hearing them, and that spirit is answering some prayer for them on some level. Now, astrology wise, it's a truth season, at least for the next week and a half. So I'm going to ask you to say, what am I not being truthful with myself on? What am I sitting back continuously finding some fault with myself? What is that all about? Because that's where you can make your biggest opportunities, your biggest blessings, but you got to be open. And let me tell you something. When you start doing the affirmations and you start seeing the results, you're going to want to do more and more and more because that's the beauty. You don't have to limit yourself with positive thinking. I know, right? What a concept. You can just OD on positive thinking. And all of a sudden, all these good things are happening to you, and you're attracting good people and beautiful souls. I mean, that's what we want. You want to repel that dumb shit. We don't need it. There's teaspoons that I tell you that will trickle in and out as needed. So here's your challenge. Today, I want you to sit and I want you to think about, what am I not being truthful with myself on? Where is my anxiety coming from? You don't have to say anything to anybody. Just sit and you hold what it is that I need to grow through here. See the words I'm using? Grow. And let's start just breathing our way through it. Let's just start with giving thanks that we got the strength to even feel it, discuss it, and hopefully grow through it. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Loving people that don't love me back. That's a tough one. That's a tough one, humble, because you got to learn some things about yourself. So that condition doesn't make it like it's their fault, especially if you know certain things about yourself. That's a condition. And we'll talk about that later. We'll go live at some point and have a discussion. So I'm gonna go because I got to get ready for the next episode. But please, I hope if you like this episode to like and share, follow, subscribe. I have so many things that I'm working on to put out into the world, but I need your support in doing that. So please share, give me feedback. I'm always open to improvements, but more importantly, I love to hear your blessings and your success. So we have a couple of weeks for the holidays, so I hope you are doing good. Definitely buy a present for yourself, something that you need. I would suggest Affirmation Aromatherapy candles by Ari because they're the bomb. And don't forget, meditation class is this Sunday through Zoom, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So definitely hit me back. Let me know if you're interested. And remember, you are blessed. Namaste. See you next time. Bye. Bye.